All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Will you please rise and join me in a pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let the record show that all board members are present and accounted for, with the exception of Trustee Cardona, who is out of the country. And then we've got no action was taken in closed session. And I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with the following amendments. We're going to remove a consent item D, special ed contract for BlazeWorks. And then we're also going to amend action item F, adding Taylor and Glenwood schools to the project. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries unanimously. We're now going to go on to communications. We're going to start with public communications. Members of the public may address the Board of Trustees on regarding any special board meeting agenda item during the board consideration of that item. Please note that if you wish to address the Board of Trustees on an agenda item, you should do so when that specific item is called by the board president. In order to comment, to comment in person, please make sure to fill out a request to be heard card and give it to the board assistant. Your name will be called during the public comment on that agenda item, or during the specified agenda item, or comments are limited to 2 minutes. If you want to comment on an item via Assembly Gamut meetings, enter your name and email address, and the board assistant will provide your comment to the board. And if you want to comment via YouTube, please do so in the live chat. And once again, the board assistant will share your comment with board members as appropriate. All right, with that, now is the time for anyone to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda. Please note that because it is not an agendized item, we cannot take action on it, but do know that we are listening, and we will, at the appropriate time, do what we can to try and address your concerns. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda? Give folks online an opportunity to comment. Okay, and we have no comments online. All right, so now we will move on to reports, and we will start with the Robla Education Foundation. And I believe Mr. Revin is going to be issuing his report via YouTube chat?
Not at this time.
Not at this time? Okay, we'll come back to you. I'm sure it'll be there momentarily. We'll move on to RTA, Robla Teachers Association. Classified School Employees Association. Nothing to report. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. So good evening. I wanted to officially welcome everyone back. I know most of our staff won't come until next week, but this is our first board meeting. So I just wanted to provide a quick summary of things that have been happening since our last board meeting. We had summer school, a summer school program, first time in a while, where we have a district-sponsored academic piece in the morning that was taught by our Robla staff. And then we had our ELO partners complement that program at Maine, and then we had Freedom School at Robla Elementary. We had about 400 students participate overall, so I'm excited about that. A few weeks ago, I attended the Small School District Leadership Summit. It's very interesting, a different perspective for the Small School District Association, because in order to participate, it's only for districts 2,500 or less. So a lot of the conversations focused on how to support small districts. And we're actually a big, 2,100, we're a big. There were some districts that TK through 12, 38 students. So it was interesting, different perspective. Last Saturday, we had Ready for Robla, and we had 384 students receive supplies and materials, TK through 6. Last Tuesday, or 2 nights ago, was the Robla Parks Association National Night Out. So we had a table where we passed out information. It was a good turnout. They felt it was a good turnout. It was super hot, so I wanted to thank Michelle, who was at the table. I only stayed for an hour and 45 minutes, and she was a trooper that stayed all day, all night. This coming Monday, August 12th, we will officially welcome back most of the staff with our district PD day. Tuesday, we'll have more training and then our staff picnic, and we look forward to welcoming our students on Wednesday. We have back to school night, and 3 schools are doing it differently this year. They're having their back to school nights before school starts. So on Monday, back to school night for Taylor and Maine. Taylor will be 4:30 to 6:30, and Maine is 5 to 7. Glenwood will have theirs on Tuesday from 5 to 7, and then Thursday, the 15th, Robla will have theirs, and the following Thursday, the 22nd, Bell Avenue will have theirs. Just wanted to give a quick facility update regarding our preschool project. We are definitely underway. If you've driven down the preschool, you will notice that the main building is completely demolished. It's all gone. We've had a few hiccups with construction, and the new estimated completion is January 2025. So looking forward to welcoming our students on our first day of school next Wednesday, August 14th. Thank you.
Okay, now move on to board member reports. And we'll start with Trustee Devine.
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Hamilton start.
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Barnes.
One thing, excuse me, back when we the delegate assembly meeting, I heard a presentation on the amount of documentation that our sites have to meet, and it is astounding. And CSBA has been working on that, and they put together a really cool infographic that shows all the documentation that they have to do, and it is incredible. And so I brought one for each of you so that you could see everything that they had to do. And this doesn't document their efforts, but they are working on trying to make it easier for our sites. I'm sorry. They're working on trying to make it easier for our sites and consolidate everything. So this is a list of all the documentation that they have to do. And, if they highlighted the fact that if they had to do a few reports, that's one thing, but they have tons of reports they have to do. And so this was a really good infographic, and I thought I'd bring that back, and because it gave me a much broader understanding and appreciation of what our sites do. So thank you very much. And just know that they are working on this. So I wanted to make sure you had that.
Thanks, Ken.
Excellent. Yeah. So this is part of a larger deal where they're talking about in the California legislature. Every time the legislature decides they pass a bill, they always say, well, with this, there needs to be a report. And what they're finding is probably 90 to 95% of the time, either a report is never actually done, it's done and turned in late, or it's done and turned in and nobody bothers to actually ever read it. It just winds up filed somewhere. So the whole point of this is to reduce the number of reports that folks are required to do, not because we don't want accountability, or there should be accountability, but some people literally are getting to the point where they're spending as much time reporting on what they're supposed to be doing as they are actually doing their jobs. Needs to be a little bit more balance there. In any case, thank you so much for providing this. And
I think the head nods over there.
yeah, every dollar comes with a report, huh? Okay, and with that, I have nothing to report. Oh, Mr. Raven has now been online. There we go.
Alrighty, on behalf of Mr. Raven, he's currently on approved vacation. He's looking forward to his return at the end of the month. Upon his return, he'll give a financial update on the fireworks booth, and then he'll notify the team via email regards to the plan for this upcoming year. He is looking for people to step forward and help with staffing and managing the booth for the following year as he manages the finances. Other than that, he says, have a good evening.
I'm glad he mentioned that, because this was my first year being as involved in doing as much as I did with the fireworks booth, and I will tell you, it's a lot. And This is largely done so that we can provide the resources to help benefit students. And this is something that there's this thing, many hands make for what's it? I forget the saying.
I know the saying.
Many hands make for light work. There you go. Yeah, this is something that it has been a lot of work, and this year the lion's share of that was on the shoulders of John, and it was not an easy. But you know what? He was a trooper and was out there. Anyway, having said that, I know that I'm making a greater commitment to be more involved in making sure that this thing goes off, and I'm hoping that between the parents who are listening, the community members who are listening, staff and whatnot, all the stakeholders. I'm sure that there are other folks out there who are listening to the sound of my voice, who are feeling that nudge in the back, right? I hope that I encourage you to reach out to John and let him know that you're interested in being a little bit more involved in helping make this go. So, John, thank you very much. We appreciate all that you've done, all that you're doing, and all that you are still going to be doing. But thank you, and thank you everyone else in advance for stepping up. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to presentations and information, and we're going to start with, we only got one. We're going to do Revised Expanded Learning Opportunity, ELOP.
It's on. No, it's working now. Good evening, President DeLuz, board members, and Superintendent Chen. The report in your package, it was first approved on May 7, 2021. And at that time, the budget for the expanded learning was about $1.9 million per year. That was the first year in operation was 21-22. And I include only the City of Sacramento to provide in the plan the before and after school services. The revised plan is to add the Robla Family Development Center in addition to the Helen Institute. In addition, what is something that is very important that you will see in another board item later is also include playground structures, shading structures in the playgrounds to upgrade our outside learning facilities that our students will use. We need to have that in the plan in order to use these funds. These funds are restricted only for outside learning activities. And we'll bring this plan to be more up to date because to pass the audit and that's why we're doing that. Something also very new in this year that we learn in the budget is that these funds, if we don't spend it like previous years by a certain time, the state will take those away. So that's something that is new. So we want to have revise the plan. So everything that was before is included. Just we're doing an additional projects with these funds. So that's it.
And if I could just add a little bit, the funds that Mr. Castillo is referring to is funds from 21-22 and 22-23. Moving forward, an LEA will be able to use the funds for 2 years. If we don't expend the funds for 2 years, we would have to return it. And we don't want to return it.
We will, so for the district, we were using balancing those funds along with ESSER funds, what I call it the COVID funds, that they also have a time limit. This is something new that they put that's how the state is balancing their budget.
Any questions?
Okay.
I just want to show my appreciation for Mr. Castillo's presentation styles. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now we're going to move on to action items. We're going to start with item A, approve AB 1200 for CSEA.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Would you like to speak to this?
When we do collective bargaining agreements, it's important that we have, excuse me, the AB 1200 form approve, and this tells us that Sacramento County is approved our budget, and our budget has enough money to support the negotiation agreement that we settled with.
Any discussion or debate? Actually, no, we don't have a motion. Do we have a motion on it? I forgot. Did we get a motion on the table? We did, okay. Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, approve tentative agreement between Robla School District and CSEA Chapter number 285 for the 2024-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor? Oh, did you want to speak to it? Do you have something you want to?
Yes, we just want to give thanks to our bargaining partners to this process, to get to this point. Was a very, what I would call it, we got to the point, I agree for 24-25. And what you're approving is a 3% increase for the classified bargaining partners that it was already included in the budget. So we are not adding any additional expenditures other than what was already included in the budget from the beginning.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Thank you to all of our bargaining teams. We know that is not easy. So, thank you.
And if I could add that since we settled in late June, our HR department, our personnel department, once approved, right, the raise for our 10 and 11th month employees will be reflected on the end of August pay warrant, which is good. And then for our 12-month employees, the raise will be reflected on the August pay warrant as well as their 1 month retro. So all of that will be included on the August pay warrant.
I just want to echo Trustee Barnes's comments regarding our collective bargaining units. We've always had a good relationship and ability to be able to collaboratively bargain. And I just appreciate that I know that our staff looks out for the best interest of the kids. So thank you. All right, with that, I will entertain a motion. There's a motion on the table. And any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item C, approve a declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
We have to declare a need for fully qualified employees because the next item you will see that we will have some individuals on internships. So this is a requirement before the next agenda item.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item D, approve certificated assignments under a provisional internship permit for the 2024-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item E, approve Amendment 1 to the agreement with Enviroplex, Inc. for the Bell Avenue new preschool and transitional kindergarten classrooms construction project.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Is this you?
Yeah, we'd like you to speak to it. Yeah.
I heard the second, so I was,
Okay,
I was
yeah.
reading it. Good evening, President DeLuz, Superintendent Chen, members of the board. Just a quick recap. I know you've been briefed on this item, but back in at your meeting on June 29th, 2023, you approved 2 items. One of them was the design portion of the modular construction for the Bell Avenue PSTK project. The second portion was the addition of the administration portion of that project to be added on. Both of those had an estimated amount. You did approve both of those at that time. As a part of that approval process, it was contingent upon Enviroplex reviewing and gaining approval of the DSA approved plans, at which time they would then provide us a final number. At that board meeting in June of last year, they provided an approximate estimated amount of $1.939 million at that time. We only gained DSA approval in March of this year, and then subsequent to that, we finalized the design of the administration portion and that interior portion, and that is why we are now bringing this amendment number 1 to their contract, which is the totality of the DSA portion of the approval process, as well as that administration admin portion of the project.
Right, so the 1.9 million was just for the building without the administrative project?
That is correct. It was actually 1.939, and that was based on the RFP, which was issued prior to the district's request to add the administration portion of the building to the overall project.
But if it was included in what we approved, shouldn't the amount that was required to do it, to build it, should that have been included in it?
It was not, that portion of the admin was not a portion of the actual RFP portion. It was a separate, later added item. The RFP did not include the admin portion. And the RFP, if you look back onto the under the board documents, it shows the actual building without the added admin portion. So so that is, to answer your question, admin was added at the same time, but it was not a part of the Enviroplex proposal and response of the RFP at that same board meeting.
So then you're saying we approved the administrative building with no budget, with no amount, knowing what it was going to cost?
The administrative portion was approved with an estimated added cost of $761,000.
That was
2 items at that board meeting.
okay. That was there in that board meeting.
Yes, sir.
And what was the date on that?
June 29th, 2023.
So then this should only be 2 items that we've already approved with the budgets added together. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Because at the time and on that June meeting, you approved a design portion, and they estimate an estimated cost with contingent upon DSA approval. They estimated at that time $1.39 million would be the cost for the buildings. That was exclusive of the admin portion, because at the time of the RFP submission, they were not made aware of the admin addition.
You mean 1.93?
1.39.
Okay, so 1.39.
1.39.
1. Okay, 1.93. Okay.
Afterwards, I just first, Mr. Deluxe. So that's why in their proposal, this is their estimated based upon the RFP. It is contingent upon final DSA approval, because DSA can always throw wild things into there in regards to the foundation, other access compliance, etc. So they always have this as an estimated amount. And the reason we did not bring this to you sooner is we could not do it until we gained DSA approval. And once we gained DSA approval in March of this year, that's when we then further refined the admin portion, including the interior layouts, as a part of that other item back in June. Follow me if you can. Back in June, when we actually were refining the program and then fully defined the layout, that's when we have finally came up with the ultimate layout as approved by Superintendent Chen, Mr. Castillo, and we finally came up with the layout that is actually what the district needs, and that is the basis of this amendment.
Okay. I gotta tell you, I honestly don't remember the additional 700. I don't remember it, but the cost is what the cost is. I have to admit, and not that I'm going to speak to any of the other board members, I feel kind of blindsided because this is a significant difference between what we originally approved. It's a concern of mine, and I'm going to make it a point to go back and look through the old board meetings to find what you discussed. But yeah, I got to admit, I mean, we are where we are, but this is a concern for me.
To be fully transparent, the amount that the board approved, the 761 and 185 for the admin portion was for the whole admin building, not just for EnviroPlus. I think it's want to be very clear what the board approved. So the board approved general fund 761 to work in the admin building because the grant does not cover the admin portion of the building. I just want to be transparent for the board and the community to know that's what the board approved at that meeting as a separate item. You know, like that's I just want to have that.
Okay, I appreciate that clarification.
There were two separate items, and I apologize if I did not make that clear. The board at that meeting, there were two items, one of which was the approval of the design portion, 20,000 and change for design and engineering for the buildings. And in that item and in that proposal, there was an estimated cost of the 1.939 estimated upon DSA approval of the plans, subject, of course, to revision based on DSA approval. There was a separate item at that board for, which has a whole policy memo with an estimated cost of $761,000 and change for the addition of the administrative space as requested by the district to add on, which is separate from the grant.
Got it. Okay. Now I do recall. Okay.
All
right. All right. Thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely, sir.
All right. All right. Is there any discussion?
I mean, we got to get the work done, like we can do about that. But I am really concerned about the growing cost, and I am concerned about its latter impacts. Our kids got to have a place to go, so like that's understandable. But I don't feel very good with the, we need more money for this, we need more money for that, we need more money for this. That is starting to worry me a little bit.
Same.
We hold weekly meetings in person with both Superintendent Chen and CBO Castillo on budget and progress. So Superintendent Chen will tell you, and I'm sure she has shared that with you, it is an ongoing concern and we are monitoring it and are very concerned as well due to a large number of continuing undiscovered issues. So we share your concern. And it's an ongoing weekly discussion between the district and CFW.
At some point, if we could get a list, like the board, see the list of all the stuff that still needs to be done and where we are on the budget, like how much we still need to accomplish, that would really help me personally. I don't know if it would help others on the board. Just to know where we are.
It would help me.
Yeah.
Okay. Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve item F. Approve contract with Game Time Company to install new playground with integrated shade and surfacing at Bell Avenue Elementary School, Glenwood Elementary School, Taylor Elementary School structures to Bell and Robla Elementary School, Glenwood and Taylor Street, resurfacing at Robla Elementary School. Okay, so the amendment's already in here.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I would just like to thank Geraldo for stretching this out to, what, it was Geraldo, right? Oh, Gerardo, sorry for, sorry about that, but he was the one who stretched this to 3 schools, correct? It was originally only for 1. I want to say thank you for working so hard and stretching this to cover 3 schools.
Yeah, we will have 4 schools. So
Oh, 4.
4 schools. So now, right now, only Main Avenue has a shade.
Mhm.
Now after this, other schools will have shade.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item G, approve contracts with painting and style for Bell Avenue Elementary School, Glenwood Elementary School multipurpose room, and Taylor Elementary School office.
So moved. Oh,
Second.
Moved and seconded.
This already happened during the summer, but because we did not have a board meeting in July and we had to get work done for return to school, but we just want to bring that to the board for approval. This was
Any additional discussion or debate?
Just one additional comment. I'm glad we are doing this. I do look forward to the time when we can finish up painting Robla, because we have such beautiful new buildings, and then we have our old section, and it just doesn't quite come together. So I do look forward to a time when we can finish up and make that look as beautiful as I know it will look.
I think we should
Artfully put.
put together the board members.
I'm not very good at painting.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item H, approve revised expanded learning opportunity plan for the 2024-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item I, approve 2024-25 expanded learning contract with the City of Sacramento START program.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Yeah, I'll just say this. So there have been some concerns that have been brought up regarding exclusionary practices of START in some cases. I would hope to get those issues addressed. The reality is START, we contract with START to work for us. We don't work for START, and we ought to be the ones determining who should be excluded if necessary and not. And in the long run, if START can't comply with that, then perhaps we should look for another vendor. In any case, I will still at this point approve the extension of or support the expanding of the. Well, still continue working with them. That was easy for me to say. Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item J, approve the 2024-25 expanded learning contract with the Roberts Family Development Center.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item K, approve the 2024-25 expanded learning contract for Helen Institute.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
Yeah, I'll say this. I know that we have heard concerns about Helen, and the concerns have come in from various sources, and I just want people to know that I have, speaking on behalf of myself, I have heard these concerns. I am still offering support for Helen tonight. I am with this is that there are things that you work through, and there are things that you stop contracts for. I am not at the point of stopping something. I'm still at the point of working through. But but even with that, I want people to know and understand that I do hear the concerns and hear what's going on, and I thank you for bringing those concerns forward.
Very well said, Tim.
We have one individual who'd like to speak on this, Mr. Josh Weeks.
Members of the board, I wrote down something this time. Wanted to say hello once again. My name is Joshua Weeks. I spoke here last time. I'm a proud teacher of our district. I'm here mainly to voice the concerns towards the Helen Institute for not just for myself, but for, of course, our students and staff members that have brought up concerns as well. I've already stated that at the previous board meeting, my concerns in regards for students running around unsupervised, students using inappropriate language, students fighting, and amongst other concerns. During the summer, a new set of concerns has arisen. Helen's summer program had a goal of inspiring educational excellence, building character, and creating great leaders of our students, but it has been observed to have an opposite effect with more student behaviors and staffs having frustrations with students being unsupervised on their cell phones, students arguing with teachers saying they were allowed to be unsupervised on their cell phones, roaming around during a fire drill instead of being in line and in order, hanging around in the morning at long periods of times on their phone, not just by themselves, but with staff members in the morning, and a multitude of others. This was witnessed by both staff and students. When addressed to a student brought to ask, like, what, for example, is happening in the classroom. A student stated, and I quote, "All we do is talk about a single question, but then we just get to hang out the rest of the day. It's pretty cool. I get to be on my phone." That's what this student said. The program states the success will be tracked smartly in a total alignment with students' academic performance, attendance, and disciplinary records, and the data at present shows the impact of the program is not having them increase in student academics. It's not increasing their behavior in the classroom, but instead has created challenges for staff that are involved in regards to trying to work with our students, having to reprimand students part of the program from being unsupervised, running down the hallway, banging on the doors, using loud language, using foul language, etc. It is now proposed that 40 students at each site, 20 per staff member, will be present at each of our staff for the Helen program. But last year, I have observed constant struggles when they only had 4 to 6 students at some sites. The program states that they have 30 hours of staff training, which includes mentoring techniques, leadership training, trauma-informed training, security, safety awareness, but multiple staff members, part of their program, have been reprimanded, and it is on record that they had inappropriate actions toward our students, and were even caught falling asleep, and it concerns me greatly for the safety of our students. Helen has stated the reason for being in this state is a lack of curriculum, but they promote having a strong educational leadership team that is comprised of past superintendents, multiple educational leaderships, and consultants and professions of the like. But there seemed to be no type of implementation of past experiences, way to promote strong drive, no tutoring, no learning, no way to promote characteristics or turning our students into strong leaders. What I ask is, how can we move forward with a program that strives for educational excellence when the very students that their programs are interacting with are scoring far below basic in their academics, and they require the support for the very areas that they need to succeed such greatness? Once again, I'm just trying to be a voice. I'm trying to advocate for our students. I'm trying to advocate for the staff and for these concerns. And if anything I said today needed to be verified, there's emails, there's videos, there's documentation, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a simple survey to see how they're interacting with our sites would do wonders. So that's my concerns. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weeks. Really appreciate you being so willing to speak.
That's a lot. That's a lot that's been brought up just in regards to the summer program. What steps are we taking to work with Helen to, at least in terms of whether it's to make sure that these issues or these things don't concern, should we approve this?
I think the first thing that we need to do is have, is me speak with all our vendors, right, if approved, all three, and remind them that this is a Robla program, not a START, not a Roberts, not a Helen. I think that's important. I think we have to implement practices that principals have shared that have been successful with START, where the instructors are, the instructors of Helen, I'll just talk Helen, would meet with the administration to talk about what our expectations in terms of behavior. I'm thinking Maine, they use pause, and Bell, they all have like how do I say, PBIS systems. One of the practices that's been successful for START is that the instructors are able to speak with the teachers whose classrooms that they are using, and what are the, and have that conversation of students who are speaking to the students that, speaking to the teachers of the students who would be in the program, right? What are some of the things that the instructor needs to be aware of to help support that student? In terms of professional development, I know Maine has provided START staff with professional development regarding supervision, regarding classroom management, regarding active supervision. I think that should be afforded to also Roberts and Helen. So those are the things that I didn't hear, so I want to acknowledge some of the, I wasn't clear if all of your concerns were happening during the summer, or did you hear concerns for the summer in addition to what has happened throughout the year? Yeah, because it's on the item, yes.
My concerns were from last year. I had a multitude of concerns that then segued into continuing, because I'm someone, of course, I always feel the benefit of a doubt, give everyone a chance. But from what was seen since Helen has been a part of our program, not just at my site, at multiple sites, we have not seen a positive benefit for our students. We've just had more frustration. We just had, and once again, it has kind of been documented, not showing progress of what that's been stated. If they were stating what, or if I saw the connections of what they state, because I love their message, if I saw it, I wouldn't be here. But, and because I'm not this type of person to bring up anything like this, but once again, I am concerned, because if I notice that at our site, 4 or 6 students, it's to a point where a student got into a fight under their supervision, and then a parent almost got involved, and then we had to address and make sure the student was safe. That was that was a concern for our students. And once again, I want our students to be safe. And if that happens from 4 to 6 students, I can only imagine if they have 20. So that's kind of like my biggest concern throughout the year, and then seeing it during the summer and seeing it not improved after they said they were going to, we put so many resources for them to have a curriculum and have a setup, and that's what we've seen. I do not see it improving. Sorry. So that's.
Thank you for the clarification. And the only reason why I asked is I did visit Main Avenue a few days purposely, right, looking at our academic walkthrough through our academic classes, as well as START and Helen, so I'm just sharing the information, in what I saw in the morning was a lot of physical activity, working on social skills, working on how to work together, building relationships, and appropriate. Did I see some situations where they had to address students who might have been aggressive on an activity? Absolutely, right. I know at 1 o'clock they did writing, right? I did see writing, right? I did see public speaking because they had to read what they wrote, right? Was I there every day? Absolutely not. Did they work together on some robotics and Lego projects? Again, another activity of having to work together and team building. I did observe that, right? So I hear the concerns. So many of the concerns throughout the year were brought to me. I did address them. So the summer kind of gave me an opportunity. I'm like, okay, I see progress. What can we do to support this vendor and their staff? Also in terms of professional development. I I did see improvement, so that is why I recommended to give them one more year, all the contracts one more year, where I will also implement the state's ELOP self-evaluation, which hasn't been used in the past. That would be a few steps that I would implement.
If I might ask a question, so of the three vendors that we have, how many of them and which ones provide an academic piece to the, not just the physical activity? Do all of them have an academic piece?
So let me clarify, the program through START is around the ACES program. So they have an hour of recreation, an hour enrichment, and an hour of academic support, right? And so Roberts Family Development Center is modeling the Freedom School, right? This is the first year that they're trying to use the Freedom components because we recognize that the Freedom School structure is actually a 6-week, 9-hour program, and so it needed to be adjusted. Their goal is to implement the integrated reading curriculum more next year, recognizing that it wasn't what was intended this year. They're going to work on that. I think they wanted to implement a homework support, but I want to be transparent. You know, in all the programs, I want to recognize that they are not our teachers. Yes, they do have an academic liaison, but I want to be transparent that it probably is easier to support the lower grades, but it might be a little bit different supporting the upper grades.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there other vendors for things similar to Helen? So say if we approve Helen for this year and they falter, say halfway through the year, that we could find another vendor to supply something like this?
I'll be transparent. I have to look.
Okay.
I just heard of another situation I learned 4 hours ago regarding opportunities for our TK students who are no longer eligible. So again, I would have to look for vendors. I'm sure they're out there, but they're not as plentiful. I think one of the reasons why the state wants to take our ELOP money is there's not a lot of vendors out there for the states, but I absolutely will look. There are a plethora of vendors, but
I am very concerned about what we have heard, but I also don't want to leave the students who need them for this year stuck because there is no options because it's so far in. We're about to start school in a couple weeks or next week. So
I guess that's the question that I have, because if there were only 4 students in there anyway, then how come we can't put them in one of the other existing programs? Like, that part doesn't make any sense to me either. Were these just
There's
overflow
20.
kids? Were these just kids who couldn't get into starting and that's why they had to go? I don't understand that.
sure. I will say at one school, there was a family that was not fully eligible to participate in START, and they were not interested in Roberts Family Development, the Freedom School at that site. So I'm just trying to say we just needed additional options. And I know this is premature, but my intent for next year, if we can, is to do an RFP for our program. We haven't done that here. I think with START has our ACES grant. So the contract that they had for 2 years was to increase their opportunity to serve using our ELOP. So there was no RFP for there. I know Mr. Roberts is a longstanding partnership, right? But I think only fairness, we should implement a process that is request for proposals. And if we do that, the process will open it up to other vendors, which will give me an opportunity and our staff to see what other things we can offer to our families.
All right. Any additional discussion or debate?
Actually, one quick question. Mr. Weeks, is that how I say your name? Is it possible, because you said having the Helen representative sit down with the principals of each site, is it possible to have Mr. Weeks join them to discuss what he's seen and what people have brought to his attention? So that way Helen, the organization, is aware of everything as well, if you would be willing. Would that be?
Absolutely. I think this is learning opportunity and what we can do. We use the data, we share the data, we have a plan to improve using the data. Yes.
And, I appreciate the questions, the comments, the concerns that my fellow board members have stated tonight. I appreciate the comments that Mr. Weeks has brought, and others. And, they all highlight the fact that, some of these decisions are not easy to make. We're up here and we say the yays and nays and stuff. We have our president reading a statement and we say yays and nays, but there's a lot more to it than just listening to this and saying yay or nay. And the questions and comments that have been said here highlight the fact that there's so much more involved in these decisions. So no matter what the vote is, I do want to appreciate what I've heard from my colleagues, my peers up here, from Mr. Weeks, and what I've read and seen elsewhere.
All right. With that, saying no more, just in. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes.
We do have some public comment from Matt Clark, and I quote, "I agree with Mr. Weeks for bringing up a lot of valid points," end of quote. And then Kelly Bardek, start quote, "Excellent explanation of your and our concerns with the Helen program and the renewal of their contracts, Mr. Weeks. Thank you," end of quote. And then Mr. Clark again, "In Helen contract, it says they spend $25,000 on curriculum," and quote, "Mrs. Shin said they only saw them playing outside," end of quote.
How many students are enrolled to begin the Helen program, like as soon as school starts?
Well, technically, no contract has been approved for Start, Roberts, or Helen. So no one should be registering students until you approve the contract.
So, duh. I'm just wondering how many of our students will be displaced if.
I couldn't answer, and let me just be clear. Last year's contract was up to 100 students because that is one classroom per site. This year it is up to 2 classrooms, but if none of our vendors serve the number of students maximized on the contract, they will not bill. They only bill for the number of students that they serve. And Helen's program is only for 5th and 6th graders. So.
On the thing, 56 last year they had.
Yeah, we can't hear you very well.
Yeah, we want the public to hear. We want the public to hear.
My concern with that, because on the document it says 4th, 5th, and 6th. Last year, so one of the only, so they were trying to recruit from Start for the, but the only overflow was sometimes some behavior problems, but they had to add in some 4th graders because we actually had a lot of people getting pulled out, and I know that's why it was so low. So the Start has, what I guess I'm confused is Start has enough for everyone from what I've seen, and for the program they had to add in 4th grade to build their numbers because otherwise it was only a small amount of 5th and 6th graders.
I'd be happy to go more in detail. So Helen was a parallel program with the START program, which means, and that was an agreement with START, myself and Helen. I reached out to START and said, when we were bringing this program, did they want to bring a parallel program in? We want them to bring a parallel. Parallel program means they would sign in through START, they register through START, and then go into the Helen program and sign out. So there was one process, right? Helen's program has always been 5th and 6th, right? To honor confidentiality, there were some families who wanted different options from START and or Roberts. And some of them included students outside of that grade level. And the only reason why they would honor it is because it was the parent request. So yours, I know you had mentioned they're recruiting, right? But I know in several instances, the reason why they took a non-5th and 6th grader was of parent request.
Sorry,
Yeah,
the only,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
reason I said they were recruiting is because I know there is high tension between them and START. So that's why That's why I was talking about the.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. And my goal is to remind everyone that this is a Robla program, right? Not a Start, not a Roberts, not a Helen. So we should all be working together, playing nice in the sandbox, and there should not be tension, right? Because we have enough to serve all our families, right? And truly, if we follow the rules, we probably don't have enough. I should be seeking other vendors to really meet the requirements of ELOP and based on our rules. So, yes, there is, and that's something that I need to work with. Thank you for pointing that out and recognizing that that is what I need to work with all our vendors, because we should all be working in partnership to serve the needs of all our families. Yeah.
Before we move forward to that, I just want to say, Mr. Weeks, I want to thank you. I want to thank the folks who commented online. I want to thank the folks who reached out to board members via email, via phone call, and via fax. We hear you. We definitely do. And we want to provide the best opportunities and experience for our students. We recognize, and there's information that we have that we're like, okay, as stated, because of confidentiality, there's things that we just can't discuss in public. We can't. Having said all of that, I will say this. Once again, you've not only been heard by the board, you've been heard by staff, and I can guarantee you have been heard by Helen. And there's going to be, whatever the board decides, if we decide to move forward with Helen, I can tell you that we will be working with them if this item is approved. I can guarantee you that we will be working very closely with them to make sure that these issues are addressed. And if not, they will not be back.
Yes.
All right. Okay, with that, any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we will move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
I oppose.
Okay. Abstentions? Motion carries 3-1-0. With that, we will now move forward to item L. Approve transportation MOU for the 2024-25. Transportation MOU with Gateway Community Charters.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Is there any discussion or debate?
Discussion. This is
Yeah.
actually revenue for the district. We provide a route for gateway charters. So we had to have the MOU to the board. That's what it is. So.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item N, approve amendment number 3 to the Master Services Agreement between Robla School District, Hazel Health, Inc., and Telehealth Services USA.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out if
My apologies, I skipped one.
I was like, sprinklers, where'd it go?
I do apologize. Item M, approve the installment of a new booster pump, irrigation controller, and total renovation of the playing field, 118,591 square feet at Robla Elementary School by Sains? Okay, Sains Landscaping Construction Company.
so moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion?
This was part of Mr. Castillo's ELOP plan, right? Again, to improve our outside learning environments.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item N, approve amendment number 3 to the Master Services Agreement between Robla School District, Hazel Health, Inc., and Telehealth Services USA.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? What exactly is the amendment?
They had to decrease the number of students. Their original proposal included preschool and New Hope. And so we need to make sure that they remove the preschool numbers and New Hope's numbers because
got
we are charged per student.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8, board member requests for future agenda items or reports. Trustee Devine?
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Hamilton, start.
Would it be possible to have the after school programs come and like tell us what they're gonna do, tell us how they're training their students, how they're training their staff? Because I think it's important. It's important for me. I'm gonna speak for myself. It's important for me to feel like we're making good decisions in terms of who's taking care of our kids. If I was a parent hearing these concerns, I would be having all kinds of a fit. So I think if we can have them come, I know Robert's Family Development has come and given presentations, which has been super helpful. But if we can have them all come and tell us what their plan is for the year, how they're training their staff, how are they recruiting students, what are the guidelines for kicking a student out of a program? If we can just have some clarity there, and I think the community have some clarity there, I think that would be really helpful.
Yes, and we definitely will make that request. We normally have a summer update, right? But I agree, it really is a different type of presentation than asking what the plan is, the training and all that. So we will ensure that we communicate that so it's not just other information.
Excellent.
No, I agree.
I like that's a great idea.
Very much.
Trustee Barnes?
Yes, I ask this every year. I know that we have services for helping for assessing vision, and I would love to hear an update and our plans for this upcoming year on those. That would be great.
Yeah, you do ask that every year, and we've yet to get it.
All right, and I have nothing. So with that, this meeting is adjourned.